Damn these Biloxi blues, it happens every night.
Every night.
And I ain't never met a riverboat dealer that could ever be a friend of mine.
Nope.
The summer heat never treats me kind, it leaves trouble on my mind. So I'm bidding farewell, putting in my notice, and I'll see you at another time. This highway does not know my name, and I don't care.
No, I don't
care.
Like my mic stand.
Headed my way for another place, and I got 3 good tires and a spare.
Right to the hook right
Just
here.
a white line gypsy getting out of Mississippi with just enough gas to get there.
Low budget live, not so live, from the Low Budget Live Bar and Grill. And welcome to another week just rolling on by. And this is the podcast for Monday, October the 10th. You bunch of low-lifers. Welcome back, new, old, and even if you don't really want to be, but you are, because you watch every week just to get yourself in a tizzy. Welcome, you are a low lifer. And October the 10th is a very, very, very special day in my life. It is when my man Hudson Lee Duncan was born October the 10th, many moons ago, 2007. And that means he's 15 years old, ladies and gentlemen, if you can do the math. And that means this gray beard is getting grayer by the second. And we're going to have one, yet another one here at the Duncan house trying to drive. And I don't know. I don't know what to say, except he is a spectacular young man. If you know him, you love him, and he's just a joy to be around. And so I got to start this week's show by saying happy birthday to my dude, Hudson Lee. And I got to spend some time with him and Ryder. We are all over the place as a family, you know, and so this was their fall break, so we got to spend a couple days, just the boys and I, over at Gunnersville. We rented a buddy of mine's lake house over there. Got to take the boat out, do some fishing, do some catching, do some struggling at times because it's the fall and it's grimy. But I had an awesome time with the boys over there. Unfortunately, the triple threat and then the triple threat's children, my I like to call them my adopted children, but my 3 stepkids. You know, we're a blended bunch here at the Duncan house. Everybody's going different directions. You got Charlie in college now. You got Harper out working, so she can't get off work yet because she ain't been working long enough. Then you got Wes, my main man Wes, who just turned 16 a couple weeks ago. He's driving. He's everywhere. They all are going different directions, and it's crazy because our fall breaks were very... That was our deal always. You know, we've been together going on almost 10 years now, and it's fall break's very special to us because Marissa teaches in the summer, and so this one was kind of like bittersweet, but also it was really good to get to spend time with the Duncan boys and get out there on the water. And, you know, I'll be honest, without the triple threat around, we fished a lot more than we would have had she gone to the lake house. No offense, honey, but we stayed after them bass for 3 solid days over there, 2.5 anyways. And but a great week, even if we missed the rest of the crew. And I feel the need to say all that because I feel like people are like, wait, you've got your oldest is 15, but you got Harper, and if you don't keep up, you know, it can be confusing. It can be very confusing. But we got a house full of youngins around here. Not as full as it once was. Harper, of course, still lives with us. She's got her apartment out here on the other side of the bar and grill where she takes up residency as she's making her way into the adult world, man, working, making that money. She's still not paying me rent, which I don't understand, but life is good around here, man. Life is good. We are very fortunate to just get to be together. on a weekly basis, but it's harder and harder as the kids get older and scattered out and busier and busier. So anyways, rambling as usual, but huge birthday shout out to my little dude, HLD. First tattoo I ever got was HLD, right? Here it's somewhere. I can't get the sleeve rolled up on my fat arm, but the first tattoo I ever got was his initials years and years and years ago. And that little dude has been something in my life. So huge happy birthday to him. All right, a huge thanks to these sponsors, and then we're going to kick right into gear. Got a great guest today. First and foremost, StarTron, kicking ethanol in the teeth, right square in the mouth, like them Tennessee Volunteers kicked LSU all over Tiger Stadium in the mouth, right in the face. They kicked the Tigers' butt just like StarTron kicks ethanol right in the teeth. A little dab will do you in your chainsaw, in your weed eater, but this time of year, you starting to, some of y'all out there that listen, y'all thinking about deer hunting. You thinking about duck hunting. You may be putting that bass boat away more than you should. So if you're going to store it, you want to make sure, unless you're running ethanol-free gas and that crap is high as a pterodactyl, you don't want to do that. Get you some StarTron, put it in your tank, back that boat in the garage, go sit in a tree. Even if you're just going out on the lake, I suggest always using StarTron because ethanol will gum up the works in an outboard engine. We appreciate the folks from StarTron bringing you Low Budget Live for many years now and always having your back against ethanol. Pro Guide Batteries got to stand on those suckers this week, finally put them to the test in the new ride. Got to fish some. I actually fished with the boys at Gunnersville, and then I slipped out to Smith Lake again one day this week to try to make a video on grimy Smith Lake. Drove 4 hours round trip on Friday to try to catch a few bass, and did just that, caught a very few bass on Smith Lake. Man, our fishing right now is just everywhere. It's no bueno. You get a few bites with a magical day mixed in here and there, but it's rough. But those Pro Guides, the lithium trolling motor batteries, standing up to the test, fishing in current, fishing in wind, absolutely. I'm amazed at how quick with the power pole charge they bounce back. It does not take those batteries long to charge. They're ready to go pretty quick. 31 series AGMs when I'm running for my crank, and I got some questions on my walkthrough video I posted from my Express, and yes, I run one. I've got a lot of those. I wouldn't mind running another one just for live scope, like maybe a smaller lithium or something. I've been looking at that, but I've never had any issues. I can see my bait. I've got that new 34 transducer for the live scope. I can see my bait at like 100 feet. I feel like I could see a cricket swimming across the water. I don't know. So I'm good there, but everything's straight up. I've got Sonar Pro's harness. I'm getting 14 volts to the console, over 13 up front to the live scope and my other graph up there. So, of course, I'm not running pumps or anything yet, but I had zero issues with that last year fishing tournaments. I ran the same setup. So go to Pro Guide Batteries, use code LBL10, get you some to try for yourself. Baitworks.com, bait-works.com. They're in Springfield, Missouri. If they ain't got it, they got it on the way. And if they ain't got it, you probably don't even need it. Baitworks, online tackle. If you're up there in the Springfield area, amazing tackle stores. One of my favorite tackle stores I've ever been in. But made a big order myself last week before I went on this trip. You can use code Duncan-10. Duncan-10. They got the new $100,000 win in Hibden jigs. We're going to have the LOB very, very soon. Had some calls about that this week again. We are headed into jig. I caught some on the LOB this week as well. We're headed into jig fishing season. I mean, full force. It's always jig fishing season for me. That's a problem sometimes. But baitworks.com. Get over there. Tell them you're a low lifer. They've got a lot of new stuff in stock. Go check it out. More stuff on the way every single day. Baitworks.com. And last but certainly not least, you're going to want to hang the banner. The Bassmaster Classic winning high-performance aluminum bass boat covered in sea deck, bow to stern with the 250 Yamaha Show, the Express X21 Pro, or the Express 21 Pro LE, which is what I'm running now. I will try to remember when I post this video to put a link for the walkthrough video I just did, but it's on the channel. If you're just listening to this, go check it out on my YouTube channel. If you want to see the boat, get a lot of questions about it, a lot of comments, a lot of direct messages about this on all social media. A lot of people interested in different things. How's it run? How's it ride? How's it do this? Blah 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 blah. So I'm going to be doing, just like I did last year, monthly videos on it. This boat is set up different. The LE has a completely different layout. It runs different. It's got more gas, different things. But overall, very impressed with it. I'm still learning the boat, so performance-wise and things, but I'm running on Friday with just me loaded out the full tank of gas. I'm running almost 70 miles an hour. A little different with the boys, running against current and different things, but love the boat. But go check out that video. Hopefully it'll answer some of your questions. I got to say, and I forgot to get this fella's last name, but Mr. Tracy, I want to give him a shout-out. The boys and I pulled up at the ramp at Gunnersville on Monday afternoon, and Tracy's a low-lifer. And he said, man, I come through here. I drive back and forth from Gunnersville to Huntsville. I listen to your show every single Monday on my drive home, which always just blows my mind and gets me fired up. He had ordered him an Express, just kind of sight unseen, X21, had an old Ranger, just got him an Express on the way, and he just wanted to see the boat. He waited on me. He said, man, I saw your truck and boat. I've been here for an hour. I apologize. I'm not going to hold you up. And, man, we walked all through the boat. It was very cool. But I say the same to you. If you see me out, you want to take a look at the boat. A lot of people, and Tracy was like, man, I know you're on vacation with your kids. And I do appreciate that, too, because I don't get a ton of time with them, right, especially on the water. But that being said, I want everybody to, don't ever – I had another guy – Donald Dickey commented, man, I saw you at a gas station over here close to my hometown. Like, always stop and speak. Always, man. If you want to check out the boat, check out the boat. But Express Boats, building excitement since 1966. But hit me up if you see me. And if I got the time, I promise you I will take it with you. And I will, I'll let you drive the thing, whatever you want to do, as long as it's, Triple Threat's not waiting on me, or those kids ain't burning something down. You got to worry about that sometimes. But thanks to him for stopping and speaking kind words, and my boys thought that was cool. That always makes me feel like a rock star, or seem like a rock star to them, and it's something you never get used to. So thank you very, very much. All right. That was a long sponsor read, and I apologize, but they are a necessary part of this show. Okay, Bassmaster Open. Bassmaster Open, Southern Open, the final Southern Open. Congrats to Tristan McCormick. No surprise to anybody that's known of Tristan for a while now. He's been catching bass he's a young man, but he's been making noise for a while. Of course, this is his second. I think this is amazing, but he won the Classic bracket last year, so this will be his second consecutive Bassmaster Classic. That's impressive for a young man. Still hanging around in college. Very, very impressive. Of course, he fished all 9 opens. When you win that college bracket, Bass, they get you the boat, they get you the truck. They're dynamic sponsorships. It's all this impressive program. He's fished all 9. He puts in the work, he puts in the time, and got it done, man. Got it done. Huge, got to say, congrats. Bryant Smith on a second-place finish there. Bryant is one of our MPFL pros, and he is also Elite Series bound, and I'm very proud to say that with a smile on my face this morning. Bryant is, I said it last year. I've said it this year. He's one of the best anglers in this country by a mile. He's a West Coast guy. He's going to make noise on the Elite Series for sure. Gets out there, kind of digs his feet in. I know it's going to be new, but dude, this kid smashes them. Just became a daddy for the first time. Like, he's got a lot of really positive things going on in his life. But Bryant is so versatile, and he's for real. He's an Elite Series angler for sure. Cooper Gallant, Coop. We've had Coop on the show. Coop qualified for the Elites through those Southern Opens. He's also way up there, top 3 in the overall points. Canadian Coop, putting in the work and made it. I don't think anybody had any doubts that Coop would make it, but won a Southern Open, also going to go to the Bassmaster Classic next year. Just awesome. And then last but not least, my buddy, the Cowboy, Joey Fuentes. Joey C. is a guy that I used to compete against as a co-angler in the FLW days. We were always buds. I really like Joey. Great human, great angler, and certainly Elite Series worthy, and just snuck in. Had a rougher second day, just snuck in by the hair on his chin by 2 points over John Hunter. John also qualified for BPT, so John had some options. I hate that for John. He used to fish the Elite Series. He's been on the pro circuit for a while now. He's qualified for BPT, but John's going to most likely end up on the Bass Pro Tour, I would say, next year, and he's had a hell of a year too, so don't want to take anything away from John. But Bryant Smith, big MPFL guy, David Gaston, looking like he's going to make the Elite Series as well, barring a disaster at Sam Rayburn. He's leading the Central Open points. He top 10. I think that's 3 top 10s in a row for Gaston. Just fishing out of his mind right now. It's crazy. So MPFL boys definitely showing out there on the Bassmaster Opens. Bryant Smith, though, one you're going to want to watch next year, I feel like. They get one right in his wheelhouse. Whew, better watch out. I hated to miss that Bassmaster Open. I elected not to fish that one to spend time with the kids. Like I said, it was their fall break, and y'all have seen it. I didn't have the boat for a while, and then it took me a long time to get the boat rigged out. Just work's been crazy with TH Marine, so just didn't have the time. And got the boat buttoned up basically in time for us to go over to Guntersville for just a couple days. Still don't have everything ironed out like I want yet, electronics-wise and things. But decided not to fish. Decided to spend time with the kids. And they called them over there. Lake Hartwell will always be one of my favorite lakes. And I hated missing it. I hated missing all the gang. And certainly enjoy fishing those opens. But just decided not to. I've had a lot of folks reach out. Man, why weren't you in the open? Family. Just decided with family to spend time with those boys. All right, so here we go. Here we freaking go. Our guest today has won a little over $500,000 in his professional bass fishing career, but he's worth so much more than that in my heart. He just turned 50 years old. He loves cigars, fudge, long walks on the beach, and buzz baits. We're going to get him on the phone right now. One of my favorite, I say this all the time, but this is true. This is very true. One of my favorite humans on planet Earth that I love to give a hard time to. Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from wherever he's going to be today. See if the phone will ring. I don't know what's happening.
Hi, this is James.
Did
Thanks for
you
calling.
just
Please
ignore
leave your name
me?
and your number, and I will call you when I get off the water.
What a
tone,
piece of
please record your
freaking garbage.
message.
I take back everything I said about
recording,
it.
You may hang up or press
It's 2
1
weeks
for
in a
more
row.
options.
Hey, James, remember the podcast we were going to do? You freaking moron. Call me back. I mean, you can't make it up. James Worldwide Watson. It's who we're going to call, who we're going to talk to this morning about all kinds of things. He's got a lot of things going on. We had set this up and just talked just like 20 minutes ago via the text messages about this interview. And I'm telling y'all, it's low budget, but it's not normally this low budget. The last couple of weeks, like Jay Ellis, that's funny guy, this Jay, I realized when I went back and listened when I was doing some editing that he didn't realize we were doing the podcast for like a solid 6 or 7 minutes. And I felt really bad because most people, when I'm reaching out and we're setting it up, I'm like, hey, when you answer, I'll be rolling, blah, 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 blah. And I didn't do that with Jay. And I went back and looked at our text and yeah. So anyways, my apologies to Jay. He didn't know we were recording. Of course, Jay's not like James Worldwide Watson where you have to worry about what he's going to say, right? Let's try to get him back on the phone. His phone didn't even ring, so he must have it on Do Not Disturb because he had some kind of crazy party last night.
What up?
About damn time you answered the phone. I've been trying to call you. You're on Low Budget Live. The first time it went straight to your voicemail, so I'm assuming some lady friend of yours sent it to voicemail.
Well, I'm probably going to not agree with you on this and just tell you that you're probably so stupid you dialed the wrong number.
Well, here's the thing. I left you a voicemail live on the air, and then I gave everyone that listens to this, all 6 of them, your phone number. So expect some phone calls, buddy. Birthday phone calls. Happy birthday, buddy. Late birthday.
Yeah, thanks.
Belated.
Thank you. Belated is correct.
You
Biscuit, get your ass in this house right now. I'm done messing with you.
Is Biscuit giving you the business this morning?
Yes. Very stubborn.
You know, James, I've known you for a long time. Biscuit to me, was a surprise in your life. Like, I never thought I would see you with this just little dog. You remember when Suggs had that lady with that little dog on his truck forever?
Yeah.
Now you just carry around a little dog. Like, you should get your picture made with Biscuit, and that should be your wrap next year.
Well, we do. We have pictures. We've done family portraits here recently. Now, her birthday was just the 4th, the day before my birthday. So simple for me to remember it and celebrate my dog.
Biscuit, the great Biscuit. Biscuit is something else too. So I want to talk a little bit about everything you got going on right now, but let's talk about this houseboat party.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I see these pictures online, and you had, it looked like a pretty motley crew. I saw the McClellans, I saw Scanlon in there, but let's talk about that banner. I'm famous. It's my birthday. Did that get you anywhere in life? Because I have to know.
Every day, banners, it's called guerrilla marketing. And it's been a part of my life for the last 21 years. You know, I've always had to just sell things, and the easiest thing to sell is my good looks.
Exactly.
And utilize it for, a more financially stable future.
Yes. You certainly need to be more financially stable than you are most of the time. Yes. I feel like does Table Rock was that on Table Rock? I'm assuming does Table Rock get wild? Like, were there ladies out there fired up to see Mr. Worldwide?
Yes, there were. They'd come in. Garth Brooks was in town.
Oh yeah, that's right. And we're going to get to this. Continue.
Okay. There was a lot of variables, but the main variable being it was a weekend and I was actually home, not fishing, not on the road, and my birthday. And I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go rent a big houseboat on Table Rock Lake. So I called up 5-star houseboat rentals over here in Kimberly City, and talked to them. It was funny. I went in there actually 2 days prior to the actual rental, only to find out that I had not completed or returned an email, which I thought I did, with a credit card. I hadn't even reserved the damn thing.
I feel like that's Michelle's fault, even though she doesn't work with you anymore.
Yeah, it is.
She messed up the pub mix and your birthday.
I'm telling you that you're exactly right on that. And, Michelle,
shout out Shelly,
wrecked my life. Oh, Shelly wrecked my life and my career when she no longer managed me. But I got somebody just as good, if not better, Rob Lever, my dude.
Okay. Shout out business. Rob.
Yeah.
But he forgot to return that email as well, by the way.
Yeah,
if we're just being honest.
Yeah. So you got to look this place up if you're on the internet. 5-star houseboat rentals at Table Rock Lake. Dude, it's unbelievable. These giant boats. This one had 6 rooms in it.
Jeez.
It was just awesome, dude. I spent a lot of time on the water, and I'm like, man, it'd be nice if I was just, like one of those guys, jet skiing.
Just hanging out.
Yeah, just, wakeboarding and making huge waves and, just, and I was like, I want to be one of them guys. And I'd, deliberately drive the big giant houseboat as close as I could to guide trips, honk the air horn at them and, ask them if, are you catching any? Are you fishing for catfish? What are you fishing
The same
for?
crap you get. Yeah.
Yeah. Not actually, giving a crap if anybody answers me back. I'll just keep on going. And, it was fun. But
it looked like a time. It looked like a time.
I tell you what, I'm going to approach these folks. I think they got a great opportunity to market with me. That's all I can tell you,
Well, I feel like a lot of people do, and that's something that I wanted to talk about. Is you have, and I figured that you were working that into a sponsor deal because I feel like you work everything into a sponsor deal. But
if you want to live,
that's right, and you have to. But you've always been able or capable, whatever you want to say, of thinking outside the box and go. Like, you've got the cigar company, you've had the fudge company, Uranus, Missouri Fudge Factory. Because where does the best fudge come from?
Your best fudge comes from Uranus.
Yeah,
I mean, everybody.
That's what I thought I was setting you up there. Like this is
You
Jimmy
did.
Fallon. Yeah, I set you up
Well,
perfectly.
my favorite flavor is the Mayor's number 2. That's my favorite.
And that's a real thing, right?
Yes.
It's a real thing. How did that relationship happen? I've probably asked you that every time I've ever had you on, but I'm always, every time you make a post, I'm like, I mean, this is just so James.
Dude, this is for real. Mayor Louis Keene is his name.
That's right.
And he come to Fort Leonard Wood in 1997. I know that's a long time ago. There's high school kids that weren't even born then fishing high school fishing right now, not even born in 1997. But old Louis come to Fort Leonard Wood and stood up Big Louis. It was a strip joint, and it just evolved over the years. It evolved to other little things, and he's a genius when it comes to funny things and marketing, and it just expanded into the Fudge Factory. Got out of the strip club business years ago, and just expanded it from there. And he come to me with this idea, and here's what I'm going to do. And I'm like, well, you'll be successful at it, but I never dreamed he'd be this successful. He's got 2 of them now.
That's crazy.
One like Anderson, Indiana, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And the cigar company was kind of the same way. Just reached out to you, right? It was just
did have an agency that reached out to me.
Okay.
The Punch had actually got a hold of this agency to help find some marketing ideas outside the box, outside the cigar box.
Okay.
And we went that route, and I've loved it. That's been fun.
Oh, your posts are great with that. I mean, you do, and everything you embrace. But I said, when I was introing you, I said, this man loves cigars, fudge, long walks on the beach, and buzz baits. And I feel like that does describe you about as well as anything. But this is a bass. Go ahead.
The 4 Bs.
The 4 Bs. Yeah. Yes, exactly. But how this all ties back to bass fishing is obviously you were a real estate mogul for very many years. I like to call you a mogul. You were very successful, but then you switched into the professional bass fishing mode. You've been doing that for a long time. You won over $500,000, but you and I talk about this a good bit. And it's only about sponsors, right? Like it is. It's only at the end of the day. And I hear you say that when you hear young guys pissing and moaning about, well, this tournament don't pay enough, or this doesn't do this, or this doesn't do that. It's really, and you got to be fortunate, and you got to work hard, and you got to figure out how to separate yourself. But it's only about sponsors if you're making money.
That's it. I don't give a rat's ass about the winnings, because the odds of me getting those winnings aren't as good as the odds of me marketing and promoting product.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just, if you had to take one versus the other, I'd have to take the sponsor, and you have to take the marketing side of things. And fishing just merely a platform to do that, just like any other vessel or any other job. And I enjoy it, and I'm just good enough to stay in the realm of fishing against the best of the best.
That's right.
And as simple as it gets.
And somebody listening is probably like, well, I bet Jacob Wheeler doesn't complain about winnings. But he also makes, I think people would be very shocked to know what a guy like him or a guy like Gerald Swindle or what their grand total is, right? Like a year, Jason Christie, Dustin Connell, like these guys have great sponsor relationships and they're getting those checks. But if you try to survive on just getting checks alone, and that's your sole purpose, is just to go out. I'm going to win. Man, $10,000 is down to 40th place. I'm going to win $10,000. You win that 6 times. Well, hey, bud, you spent 80. So that's and it doesn't matter which trail you're on. We can talk about this all day. I don't care. I don't care if you're fishing the pro circuit, the elite series, MPFL, whatever. Getting checks is a losing proposition.
It is. Unless you're one of the 5%ers.
Brian Thrift for years.
Yeah.
Thrifty.
Dudley. Thrift.
That's right.
Scott Martin.
That's right. But also, Scott has sponsors too, right? And I know Thrifty's got sponsors, but he's solely made it, I feel like, on earnings for so long.
Yeah.
I feel like he's a really good example. And there are guys that do it for sure. But even like talking to a friend of mine like Justin Atkins, who's had a couple off years after winning a lot. And I know basically, or in a roundabout way, what he makes sponsor wise. And he's like, man, look, I'm used to, because he's had a tough year. He's like, I'm used to popping me 3-4 of them $10,000 checks. And he said, I consider that. And I thought this was very interesting. He's like, a bonus. He's like, that's like a bonus to me. He's like, if I get a check, it's just icing on the cake. And that's how it was when I was at FLW. Obviously, didn't catch them enough to be Angler of the Year or win an event or whatever. But I would win money at times. But, and I've had, there'll be somebody in the comments, oh, yeah, you suck. Well, I was making more in sponsors than a lot of people. And this is not being arrogant, but a lot of people made in their day job. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I got to chase my dream. So that's when anybody takes a shot, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I got to do it. I did it. It is what it is. And I'm still enjoying it and doing it. But now my life is more promotional than it is competitive, right? Like I love working with good companies.
This
stupid show has been a just wild ride, James. And you've been around for most of it. It's been a very wild ride. But I think that's important to get out there. I've said it on the show many times, but man, I don't care what trail you're fishing. You've got to be trying to sell yourself. And would you say, because you've got both, you're like me, you've got a combination of fishing industry people and, non-inclusive, the outsiders, so to speak. Which would you say are the best to go after? If you're a 20-year-old dude, you just qualify for BPT or the Bassmaster Elite Series, you're trying to fish MPFL, who are you going after? Are you calling Strike King or are you calling Joe's Tire Shop?
You got to have a little mixture of both. I believe. Otherwise, the expenses of the game could eat you up. Mm-hmm. Let's face it, the average fisherman probably has 5 or 6 rods. Guys that fish the tours and circuits like we do, have to operate on 30 rods.
That's right.
And you're throwing $300, $300 rods down, and and $250 reels down on those. It doesn't take long to boost $10,000 gone.
Yep.
So you want to have a mixture of support, and some of those fishing companies might be product.
Yeah, that's right.
It might good deals like 30 rods and 30 reels. That's a good reel deal for anybody coming up.
You've got to have those to compete, obviously, right? You want good stuff. You want, like you said, you don't want to drop 10 grand just to have rods and reels that aren't going to mess up on you.
Yeah, but the non-endemic people, they're also out there looking at ways to expand their brand, and fishing's a good way. We spend a lot of time on the road. It's just a good way. It might be the same in motocross. I don't know, because I don't motocross. But in my world, the people I hang out with and I talk to and I have an influence over, they're outdoors people, and they like to fish and they like to hunt. And, talking about that, I do a lot of cross promotion just because of the guns. Mm-hmm. And
that's right.
I'm not a big hunter. If I want to, mount a deer or something, I'll just go steal one of Swindle's, put it in my living room, and tell people how I killed it with the,
slingshot
one day. Yeah. But now young people, this sport, and I don't want to be Karen here, but this sport is, in my opinion, when it comes to making money, is really declining.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
The only thing that doesn't decline in our sport is the price of boats and motors and
entry fees. Yes. Such a great point. Yes.
None of those decline. You think about this for a minute. We got how many anglers in the elites?
110 next year, 105, whatever.
Okay.
100.
Add 80 from Bass Pro
BPT.
Tour. at 150 to so that's
160
200
pro circuit.
Then we got the MPFL. We're going to throw them
115.
in there.
Yeah,
So what are we looking at? 400, 500, 400 guys,
a lot,
and a lot of them are double tappers.
no doubt.
So let's say realistically in this world, tournament, professional, touring, national, pros, the odds of being one of them, there's 300 slots.
Mm-hmm.
How many NFL players are there in the NFL? How many NBA players are there? How many baseball players are there on a team? And how many teams are there out there? Your odds, if you're a good athlete, are better becoming
Don't disagree.
somebody that plays NFL. I mean, do you want to spend? Do you want to turn this into a job? And there's a college. Drury University. I have a visit with Rick Emmett a lot. Good friend of mine. Used to be my boss at Bass Pro. You know, his team. He's got a lot of kids on his team, and guess what? All of them want to be.
Exactly.
They're not going to college to. They're not saying they're going to college. They're going to get a degree of some sort, but is that what they want to be? No. He'll tell you every single one of them is aspiring to be a professional angler like I am right now.
Mm-hmm. That's
Get your wallet.
Get your wallet.
Get your wallet.
That being said, do you feel like, because we're seeing this, I feel like we have the biggest youth movement that we've ever had in the sport. And we just saw it like the Bassmaster Open, Tristan McCormick, college guy, second consecutive classic. He won an Open. He won the college bracket last year. You got Coop Gallant just qualified for the Dadgum Elite Series, right? You've got so many young guys, the Matt Beckers of the world, but coming up on the pro circuit side of things, too many more to name, but I say youth, younger than 30. These kids, like, I still consider Wheeler a kid, even though he's not. I remember when he was, obviously, and he was kicking butt and taking names. But do you think, I mean, is it harder for you? You just turned 50. I had Jay Ellis on last week. He just retired. Do you think it will get harder? And I feel like I'm going on 40, but I feel like I'm so stuck in old school ways of fishing a lot of times. And Brad Knight and I talk about this to the point that he and I both should shut up. But those old school methods, and what I mean is, and you love live scope like I love live scope. We're Garmin guys. We like, and I'm not just talking about that. I think it's work ethic. Man, and they think about it differently and this flow of information. But do you think it's going to get harder and harder for the old school guys to compete in the next 4 to 5 years with this just mass of college guys out there trying it?
No, I don't. I mean, the up and coming guys are hammers. Absolutely. The ambition level that they have exceeds most guys like me that are, or financially sound, long in the tooth, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But again, every year there's going to be a handful of younger anglers that are going to come into this sport. And I've still got to wonder, how do you financially make it?
Yeah.
And the answer to that is, it's more important to them to fish than it is to have a house.
That's right. Or sacrifice.
Or a mailbox.
Or a family or whatever, right? I mean, it's true.
So,
like that kind of atypical path people take in life a lot of times, where they get out of school, or they get a job, they get the family, they get the house, they do the thing. And these guys are all gypsies for the most part. They're living out of their trucks, but they're obsessed with it. And that's when I say, when the Open changed their format, people were freaking out. I'm like, listen, man, I fished the Opens the last couple of years. If you're not willing to go harder in the paint than most of those young guys, you're not going to make the Elite Series anyways. You're just not. You look at the 3 dudes that just made it in the Southerns. Bryant Smith from California, he fishes MPFL. You know Bryant. You've been around Bryant. Fantastic angler. Coop Gallant from Canada, who's just slept in a tent all year, all over the country. Just caught him. And Joey Fuentes from Arkansas, who's been at this for going on now. I think his first year was a co-angler when I was out there in like 2015.
He traveled with Larry Nixon. He had a great study there, right? But he's a young guy. And those three, like, it's very, you can't, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm really trying to say with this, but it is, man, like you said, they are willing to sacrifice things they don't even have, right? I guess that's the point. Like, they're willing to sacrifice those 20s and like, hey, if I fail, I'll just start again in my 30s. It's a different mentality.
It is, and God bless them.
Yeah, no doubt.
I did this. I had the ambition, the same thing. When I was in the Army, I mowed. I had 180 yards I mowed. I transformed a little side hustle to make some spending money, but just completely got out of control. And that's the way these guys attack their fishing, which is great. It takes a while. It takes a while for an angler even being successful before a major sponsor really, especially if they don't know anybody.
Yes.
Inside, and they don't have that connection or introduction. It takes a while for sponsors to say, "Hey, I know this kid just won. It's got a lot of potential. Let's go out on a limb here and let's wrap his truck and boat and pay him $50,000."
Yeah.
Those deals, those are only a couple deals like that a year.
That's right.
I mean, really try to figure out the math around this. Cody Huff, he's a wonder. He's a freak of nature when it comes to catching bass. People saw that. Rick Emmett saw that in him years ago. Yeah. So he was that one guy every year, every 2 years that comes along that right out the gate proved himself throughout the years, on a shoestring budget, and then exploded and will have a long career in the business.
Yes, for sure.
In the sport.
But a guy like Rick Emmett pays attention, though. And as an industry guy that pays attention, he was a Bass Pro for many years. But in my line of work with TH Marine, it's so funny to me because I'm obsessed with the sport like you are. I keep up. I see the young guys that are catching them and coming up, and you hear the whispers about them, and this guy's doing this guy's doing that. But it is amazing to me, the industry people that do not pay attention.
Yeah.
Even to the guys that win. Think about Brian New. He was on zero people's radar the year he made the elites in the industry for the most part. That dude couldn't he had a few smaller sponsors, and Brian talked about it on the show. He's like, hell, if anybody wants to sponsor me after he qualified, he's like, here we go. I need some sponsors. And he did not even have a boat wrap when he showed up and won the first damn Elite Series. And Brian has been a hammer for a long time. But I think that's a prime example of people, because I saw the comments during the Opens thing. It's like, well, now I can't fish 3 and qualify because when I made the Elite Series, I was going to get sponsored. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't more times than not.
It'll work that way if you want to do it the way James Watson did it.
That's true. That's why I'm talking to you about it for sure.
Yeah. If you got the financial ability to plop down, I've said this, and I spent $180,000 of my money to see if it worked.
Wow.
To see if it worked. And I think that's being conservative.
Probably.
I'm not even talking about boat and a truck.
Yeah.
But I can tell you this. I can tell you, just because the way I was brought up, and this is not a jealousy deal. I think this is a social situation that this is a social situation that I hate. I don't even know if I'm saying it right. It bothers me to see privileged people that don't have a clue on how to make $1 to get to do this for a living. If you're privileged enough, that is a way to get into this sport. It is. And
so you kind of side with the people that are like in the comment section going, "Daddy's money" and whatever.
Yeah. I'm one of those guys to an extent.
But you don't comment.
I don't comment. But that
There's some of that going on. There's some Black American Express,
Dude,
Platinum Plus
that kid
cards rolling around out there.
That kid's got a better chance of making it than somebody that may be a better fisherman, but that kid's got a better chance of making it.
I don't disagree with that.
Because it just takes too much.
But I also see the opposite, though, in a guy like a Trey Swindle that I know personally, and I that doesn't have that, and I see everything he's going through to do it. So I think you've got two tails there, right? I think the kid, I think your point is, you're better off if you make it on your own like you did. You already had money or you grind it out and you have sponsors and you figure out your little niche to get in versus the kid that just goes, my dad handed me this Black American Express unlimited. I'm going to go pre-fish for 9 weeks straight in front of every one of these tournaments. I'm going to mark every brush pile. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to get help at all these Bassmaster Opens and pro circuits. So I never do bad ever in life. I don't like that guy. I can say that, but I don't begrudge somebody for having the opportunity either. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not hating on that because it exists, but I think that privilege thing it can only carry you so far, I feel like.
And it goes on way, way more. But, I see it in life. I see just the handouts and the no consequences.
Lucky Sperm Club.
You want.
Lucky Sperm Club.
And then you got the people that get on there and they're like, man, can't afford power poles. Must be nice.
Yeah. And you're not saying that. That's not your angle at all.
No. I'm like, well, if you want power poles bad enough, go get them.
Yeah.
Who can afford all those electronics? You don't have to afford them. You don't have to use them. But, if that's the way you want to spend your money or daddy's money, go spend it that way.
Or your hard-earned money. Listen, I know folks that just I live in the heart of bass fishing just like you do. And down here, man, I know folks that I don't care what their day-to-day is. They may not have the most money in the world, but you can bet one thing. Their boat's ready to roll with everything on it you can put on it, and they're going to fish every Saturday and Sunday, every week, and they don't care what that crap costs, and they don't care what entry fees are, and they don't bitch about it online. They just figure out a way to work harder to get it.
That's right. That's what they want
America
to do.
Too, right? Yeah. Should be.
Yeah. Is it about what we, is it about what we want to do, or is it, in life, you want to be happy, go to a job that you like going to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If I hate it for people are doing jobs that I would never want to do.
I'm same
I just
way.
look at life. I approach life like, would I want to work at that factory for 20 years? No, I wouldn't want to work at that mofo for 20 minutes, let alone 20 years. So what I got to do to avoid going to that prison,
because that's what it would be to you. Yeah,
that's what drives a person. But I can tell you, in the bass fishing sport, of bass fishing, that drive can drive you straight to the poorhouse.
It can
straight to the poorhouse.
It's a thin line.
It's my job to promote Charger Boats and Mercury Motors and have an influence over young kids coming up through the fishing business to buy a boat every few years. I mean, face it, the average fisherman, they don't buy a brand new boat every year. That used to not buy a boat every year. Dude, it's crazy how many friends of mine that stay in this house, other friends that don't stay with me, but I know it's crazy how many guys, regional guys here, get a brand new boat every year.
Most of them.
Every year.
It's crazy.
And that is what the high school and college fishing has done to the industry. That's why it's important that we keep promoting so that we can get all these young addicts hooked as young as we possibly can on fishing. and they'll buy her cigarettes for the rest of their life because they can't get off that nicotine. That's what this business is. It's a fact, Jack.
Damn.
You can't look at it.
Ain't nobody going to say it more black and white than JMFW right there, folks. I'll promise you.
Dude, bass fishing is nothing more. I've said this 100 times. We, from club level to pro level, we are all crackheads.
Yes, I agree.
Kathy Fennell just got inducted into the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame. I am not calling Kathy. Kathy will listen to this. I'm not calling you a crack dealer, Kathy. I respect
she is,
you.
though.
Yeah, but the organizations are crack dealers.
They are. Boyd Duckett's like, hey, little buddy, come over here in this alley. Let me show you.
Let's show you how good this here whop up. Oh, feel it tug, not the drug. Okay, that's what we're trying to do.
It's so
The Strike King wants you to catch a giant bass, one giant bass at a young age on one of their spinner baits, and get you hooked from now on.
That's a fact,
that happened to you, and it happened to me.
That's right.
It happened.
Yeah, I made a post this week about my Hudson, and when this podcast I'm recording on Sunday with you, but it'll come out tomorrow, October 10th, and that's his 15th birthday. And we were over at Gunnersville, and it hit me. My boys they've been all over the country with me on fishing trips and things, and they've caught fish a lot of different ways, and it makes me proud, right? They're a lot more versatile anglers than I was. They have zero desire. Like, they're not sitting around, even though they love Uncle James and they like watching your videos and they like watching Brandon Polnick's and they like keeping up with it. They don't really care about doing it. Like, by the time I was 15, I was like, this is all I want to do. I was that crack addict by 15. But I watched Hudson. It was funny. And I actually thought about you. He was throwing an HD, the old Worldwide Buzz, and he had never caught one on a buzzbait. And I had picked one up and had thrown it a few times, and he goes, Dad, because we just don't have we deer hunt in the fall, right? And there's not, I don't feel like there's as many windows anymore for a buzzbait, or I just don't throw it as much as I used to, I guess. And I was throwing over Gunnersville in the grass, and he's like, Dad, I've never thrown one. And I just thought, well, he's thrown it with me before, and he goes, I've never done that. Can I tie one on? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So I tie him one on. He catches him like a 3-pounder second cast, and you just watch him. Yeah. Then he's like, can we do this all day tomorrow? But it is what you're describing. It's like the first one that goes, he goes, oh my God. Like, it is. I had a guy, I'm gonna get semi-vulgar for Low Budget Live, but I had a guy tell me one time, he goes, the first time, I don't even know if I should say this, but send it. It's my show. I'll say, it. Okay. So, I'm saying it. All right. So, he said, the only time I ever wanted to have sex twice was before I had it once. He said, but you know what I want to do when I get one that blows up on a buzzbait? I want to catch another one right then.
That's right.
And it's in a nutshell, baby. In a nutshell.
Well said.
But he did. We were fishing together, and he goes, you know what? I'm like, oh my God, that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm like, that's what we just got to decide. How big? I mean, do you want to have full blown meth mouth, or you just want to dabble? You just want to like have a party every third Saturday.
You can just slide in there and slide back out. You're not a full blown addict. You can fish a couple BFLs and you go back to hanging with your family, or you're the dude sleeping in the back of your car at the Walmart going, I gotta get up there to the Lake of the Ozarks. They're killing that whopper plopper.
They're biting up there. And I saw they got a BFL coming up there next Saturday. I'm driving right by it. I will get in that.
Exactly. I text a buddy of mine that's really gotten into bass fishing in the last 3 or 4 years, and a couple years really. And on Friday, I live 2 hours from Smith Lake. Smith, notorious, tough lake, but there's a deal that goes on down there this time of year that I really like. And we've had some cold nights, and I woke up Friday morning at like 5:30. I'm like, I'm going to go to Smith today. So I drove 2 hours one way, fished for 8 hours, caught 6 bass, and then drove 2 hours home. And I'm driving home going, what did I do with my life? You know what I could have done today? But I'm just Dude, it doesn't get out of my head. It never has since I was 12 years old, whether I'm competing, whether I'm fishing, whatever. Like, that's what I've said on here a million times. Regardless of any of this, lights, camera, action, podcast, Instagram, Facebook, tournaments, I would still go bass fishing every chance I got. Like, I'm an addict.
That's it. That's
Damn
what
you,
we are.
Kathy Fennell. Damn you, Ray Scott. He was the ultimate crack dealer.
Unbelievable. Ron Lampin.
Yeah, Ron, Mark McQuaw, Bill Taylor. Hey, James, come over here. I got a little something I want to show you.
Leave me out of this, James. I was hard.
James. Hey,
Man.
how about I saw a comment this week from Bill Taylor on Randy Blockett's post, because Randy's trying to drum up some views about Tony Christian. And Randy was telling the Tony Christian thing, I guess. I haven't watched the video, but somebody screenshot and sent. Bill Taylor's like, you lying idiot. You don't even know. I was the tournament director that was there, and none of this is true. It's the greatest thing. And of course, I read it in the Bill voice, but he just blasted Blockett. And he was the damn tournament director. He's like, we've been investigating this for months. You're wrong on all of this.
He's calling them out. I like it.
I love it. He's retired, and he's like, you know what? I got time. I'm on Facebooks. Let's go. Let's go. Bill Taylor. I've got to do a podcast with Bill Taylor at some point. I've got to.
Have to.
Got
That'd
to.
be your number.
I wish that
one.
I could get him, no joke, to tell some of those stories like the Tony Christian stuff and all that. But I think there's probably legal reasons they can, I guess. But because, dude, that story, can you imagine? And we're jumping around. That's what James and I do. But can you imagine if social media had been around during those times, how crazy that would have been? Think about this walleye scandal. Bro, walleye, no offense to any walleye fishermen, there are 40 boats in that damn tournament. It wasn't like a Bassmaster Elite Series. Tony Christian won the BFL All-American. He won Ever Starts. He had top 5 his first 3 FLW, hundreds of thousands of dollars that the man took, and then he just disappeared. Was banned forever. The statement was just he was banned. But there are no true details. The only people that actually know are Tony, the FLW crew, and maybe some law enforcement. But truly, think about that. There's been speculation, and I feel like enough people know the same thing, right? That it's been leaked out enough that people kind of know what was going on. And I know co-anglers that drew him. Personal friends of mine that were in the boat with him when he won an Ever Start down at Lake Martin. Just crazy things. But the fact that that's never really been told is amazing. But in this day and time, if Bill Taylor sat down and did an interview about the greatest cheating scandal to ever rock professional bass fishing, because that's it. That is it. And it was in the early 2000s. There were basically, like, the bass fishing homepage was a thing, like forum-wise, but that's where you got your information, or bassfan.com. But other than that, there was nothing else. No YouTube, no Instagram, no Facebook. But can you imagine how big a story that would be?
Dude, be huge.
I mean, because that's like prison, felony, like insanity, what that man won.
Dude, what you're describing to me, it's taking place right now in a different way. And it's a Netflix series about Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yes.
So one day Netflix might do a show about that situation of Tony Christian that you just spoke of.
I swear.
Will end up as a documentary on Netflix.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, Matt Greenblatt's had a couple specials.
Yeah. Right.
He's been on a couple things. We've had some bass fishing craziness.
Yep.
But here we are, James.
Here we are.
No lead weight, so we don't get any love. Dude,
Nope.
Sam George, my little buddy Sammy, his mother is from London, England, okay? His grandparents obviously are British. Front page of their newspaper in their hometown on Thursday morning was the walleye cheating scandal. Swear to God, they sent him a picture.
Jesus.
In England. Unbelievable. Well,
That is unbelievable.
Speaking of worldwide, so you guys have this, and I think this is a very neat deal, but I don't feel like there's enough public information about it. This is one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, other than just to BS with you, because you and I always have a good time. But
Always
you're
be.
on Team USA.
Yep.
You guys are going to have this. What is the tournament? What's the proper name for the tournament?
It's the Black Bass World Championship.
And South Africa, right? To fish this?
Yeah,
And Mexico?
Yeah, we did that. Yeah, and then Mexico, and then COVID struck, and it's been difficult traveling and everything. And this is the first opportunity to have World Championship.
And it's going to be on Lake Murray, Columbia, South Carolina, the end of this month, correct?
Yeah, that's right. And here's the deal. Talk about the naysayers and whatnots. There's an organization, FIDEPS is a organization, worldwide type organization that runs these fishing programs. Charlie Evans approached me years ago. We were somewhere pre-tournament meeting. He said, "Hey, we got something going on. FIDEPS has contacted me. I think it's a great opportunity. It will take a little bit on your part and risk. Would you be willing to fish a part of the USA team?" And here's the catch, James. We are checking the block on, and I want people to understand what I'm saying. We're checking the block on what the Olympics requires in order for this to be an organized sport with many nations. We have a checklist that we're checking off to make sure that we satisfy their needs. Now, James, that does not guarantee if we check every block and all of them get 5-star ratings on every single block that this will become an Olympic sport. But in order for it to ever get in front of or whatever, we have to do this. The Olympic Committee people who are following this and who said curling is a sport,
got skateboarding.
Tossing.
You got skateboarding now, which is takes a lot of skill. I used to be a skater punk back in the day.
You look like your hair does.
Yeah,
and
I'm a skater punk.
That is being done. 2 weeks from now, Lake Murray. We got 25 total of us nations fishing this biggest one ever, and we want to impress the Olympic Committee. We want to say, look, there's Thailand, there's South Korea, there's Zimbabwe. There's a lot of interest in it. We want to make an Olympic sport.
Did Russia send a team?
They did last time, yeah.
I thought that was the case for real. Will they this year, you think, with everything going on?
I haven't seen the list. I've been busier with other things, but it wouldn't surprise me.
James Watson versus the Russians.
And
hang on a second. There's an effect for this. James Watson versus the Russians. It's kind of the effect I use for everything, to be honest. I got like 6 sound effects, but continue.
Putin pushing the button. That's what that was. But we got a really good chance. At least they're here and they're looking.
That's cool, man.
That means there is a chance.
That's cool.
So if that takes place, and what potential do you think, especially an angler that's on the U.S. team, what kind of financial benefits or profits could being part of a U.S. Olympic team as a curler, as a javelin thrower, as a sprinter, as a bass fisherman? Do you think that just elevated the interest or the sport of bass fishing just a little bit?
I can't even wrap my head around the notion that could be real. To be honest, I mean, really, like it's so far-fetched, but hearing you talk about it, like it's not. Like you guys are on the cusp of potentially being looked at as an Olympic sport because of this world championship. It's pretty freaking cool, man. Now, I've seen you guys posting some videos, and this is something I want to get out there.
Oh, God, don't even get me started on that shit. I know where you're going.
No.
Go ahead.
No, these guys are coming from all over the world, and they got to have boats, right? Like you're not getting on a Delta flight and bringing your whatever bass tracker from Thailand. Right. Hell, I don't know. But so they gotta have boats to compete.
Yep. That's correct.
And you guys need volunteers for that, I'm assuming?
Yes, we do. We do need volunteers. And even when I think we were down to like needing 3 boats. I brought it to the attention, and they might have already been brought in, but we need a couple extra boats because something generally takes place.
That's right.
Where somebody has to go home. And so if we don't have a few extra volunteers on the ready, we're hurting. But we put all calls out. 25 nations. I think they need 3 boats per nation. It's a lot of boats.
Lot of boats.
A lot of volunteers for me. But if I recall, about every other tournament, Bass Pro Tour that we fished this year, it felt like we had a high school tournament or college national championship on something that had somewhere between 3,000 and 8,000 boats in it. How
you're not wrong.
Fucking hard is it to get 100 volunteers to come to that Lake Murray and, excuse my French.
Hang on, I was late.
You were late.
It's okay. Send it.
But here we are begging and pleading, and the text message yesterday from our captain. Team leader was like, "Hey, we got a hold of the University of South Carolina, and they have got excused absences to assist us this week. And out of all them, we got 1 volunteer."
Holy crap!
Now, what do you think, James Watson? Just I almost had an aneurysm after I got done reading that.
I bet
They've have excused absences to assist us, and we've managed to drum up 1 volunteer.
Jeez.
There is 483,000 of these mofos. Reach out to me if they're coming anywhere close to the lake around my house. Hey, would you talk to us? You got any this or that?
So true.
So here we are. We in the sport of bass fishing. Scott Martin, Scotty Two Hotties, putting all calls out, begging for a little bit of help back in that particular college. There might be some unknown circumstances that limited them to only 1 person being able to volunteer with an excused absence to come and help us. We needed help, and we're reaching out to 5,000 high schoolers around and all the captains around. Can you not help out? Can we not dig a little deeper, folks, to help this? Because, it will help sport of bass fishing. It is not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt their future at all. Yeah. Let's get some help here. I was just a little set back about that. I'm like, how many high school kids do I talk to a year? How much time do I spend volunteering or trying to influence college and high schoolers at my level? Because if I don't, guess what? Sponsors won't like me. Sponsors won't want to pay me if I don't have an influence over high schoolers and college kids.
Even if it's a terrible influence.
Even if it's terrible. That's right. An influence is an influence.
That's right. Influence is influence. It's like all press is good press.
Come over and get some of this crack.
Come over here.
Now look.
It tastes a little like fudge, buddy, but it's it's got crack in it.
Now go over your mom, get the checkbook, write $10,000 check.
Now go get your mom's American Express and get your ass back over here and buy some of these cigars.
Hurry up and look. Don't inhale cigars.
Yes, do not
like cigarettes.
They're not like cigarettes. Do not do.
Dude.
So you need boats if you're listening, and in that region when you're talking about the high school and the captains, all the dads, and things. That region over there, whether it's Hartwell. Santee Cooper,
Hartwell's like 2 hours.
Lake Murray. There are huge high school events over there in that part of the world. So, and look, people were busy. They got crap going on. I get it, but if you guys need 3 to 5 more boats, let's go, guys. Go help them out, and you never know what might come of this. I think it's to even get the idea going. Like I thought when you guys first went to Africa, I was like, what in the hell is going on? And the stories from that were great. And it's just, it impressed the hell out of me. Then you guys go to Mexico. But I just think the fact that there are all these countries coming here to bass fish. Like what? That's pretty damn cool, man. So hopefully,
We're talking about countries that don't even have bass.
yeah, I was going to ask that. I mean, how do they prepare? I don't know. That maybe I need to get one of those competitors on. I don't know how you compare. I mean, Jacobson, Carl grew up in Australia. He's a successful bass pro now on the Elite Series. He's got an Elite Series win under his belt. He competed on the FLW Tour. Carl has qualified for the Elite Series a couple times.
Yep.
And he never fished for bass until he rolled up in the United States. I mean, they have barramundi and different things. But so I guess fishing is fishing to a certain extent.
Yeah. Yep. And again, I don't care their skill set and their skill level. The most domineering team besides us is the South African team.
Yeah, because they have bass, right?
Gary Giles, they're always a threat, always way up there. I mean, they've been there for 2 weeks already.
Oh, wow.
Practicing. Yeah. So unlike their country, our country, we're not funded.
Yeah.
I don't know if the president of South Africa writes these old boys a freaking check and says, go over there and wherever you're going.
Go take Jacob Wheeler's money.
Yeah. Go over there and do whatever it takes. Let's show these nasty Americans how to bass fish.
This is like Rocky, really.
Yeah. Think
about it. I mean, this is
so
get behind your country, people.
Dude, the first trip, the South Africa trip, I had to buy my own airfare, and it was $4,000.
Jesus.
Do you think I got reimbursed? Do you think President at the time had wrote me a check back saying, thanks for representing our country and bringing home a silver medal. Here's your $4,000 back? No.
No, they probably taxed you on your medal.
No. This trip will cost me a few $1,000 to go do this.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not whining. What I'm doing is I'm making an investment in something I hope happens, and that's Olympics. And then you can call me worldwide Mr. Olympian.
Mr. Olympian worldwide. I just hope they don't test for performance enhancing drugs, buddy.
Dude, steroids are bad in this business.
They're bad. I mean,
yeah.
You think about the number of guys shooting up.
Yeah.
Horse steroids.
Dude, you know it. Just out there so they can get a little longer cast with that 10XD.
Exactly right.
You know? But if this truly, I turned 50. I'm always looking at my next angle. What am I going to do next? Because I get bored in life. I don't do.
Yes.
I've done a lot of things, and sometimes I just get tired of doing them. But fishing, I don't think I get tired of fishing.
Mm-hmm.
But this could be my next deal if this does press forward. It could take a few years before, it's not going to. They're not here to take a vote and then say at the end of the week, we've decided this is going to be an Olympic sport. That ain't going to happen. So I probably should have said that in the very beginning for the naysayers. The guys at the Olympic sport, yeah, right. Those guys. But if that takes place and it happens, I don't have to fish MLF anymore.
Yeah.
I don't have to fish, try to qualify for the Bass Elites, which I would never qualify for. I don't have to. I would focus all my efforts doing whatever it took with the red, white, and blue hat on, promoting bass fishing, just like Michael Phelps promoted swimming and all these other Olympians, the dream team basketball. We're the dream team of bass fishing. I would focus all my efforts on that right there and should make 10 times more than I'm making now.
I want, when you pull up to the ramp the first morning of this deal, I want to hear, I am a real American, fight for the rights of with fireworks. I'm talking about Hulk Hogan shit. And let's let these people know this is our country. Okay.
Yes. Welcome,
first of all, but now get ready for an ass kicking. That's all I care about. And maybe the three teams have to fish off the bank because our Americans won't give them boats. Maybe that's strategic on Americans. You're being mad about it, but maybe they're trying to hold those guys down on purpose because this is America. I don't know. Maybe it's part of the strategy, James.
It is. It is. I got to remind people too, if you're listening, you are a boat volunteer and captain. Don't be treasonous.
Yes.
Don't. You will get firing squad.
No waypoints. Yeah. No waypoints. Don't you teach them how to use live scope if they don't already know how.
Don't be making like a squinting your eyes and nodding your head over in this direction.
Like don't be looking at team freaking Italy and going, left you something in the box, my man, and it's some kind of secret spook for Lake Murray. I don't think so.
That's right. Don't go down that bank this fall and look over there and see a 10-pounder up on the bed and point it out if they miss it.
That's right. Yeah. Don't you do it because this is America. All right, James. I've kept you. I've had a great time, buddy. I've kept you forever.
Oh, you're cutting it off. Let's go on and on.
We can do that. I got to get you. We did one at your house last summer. It was awesome. I got to get you here sometime to do one here in the Bar and Grill. I think we had a great time. But I wanted to ask you. There's always, and I feel like you're always as honest as anybody will ever be, but there's a lot of talk right now with Bass Pro Tour, and obviously there's a lot of changes, pro circuit and things. You probably just said, oh, hell, here he goes. Going to get you in trouble, right? Yeah. No, a lot of guys have posted this survey about 5 fish versus every fish counts. We've seen it like from a ton of guys on Instagram and Facebook. Of course, there's a lot of talk about it. What are those? You don't have to be very specific, but I mean, what do you think the chances? Are you guys changing it up? Are you going to mix it up? Or is this just like a teaser? Like, what do you think is going to happen with the Bass Pro Tour? You've been on it since its inception.
I think they're going to change it.
Really?
I mean, I'm not going to jeopardize my non-disclosure.
Yeah, of course.
It's out there. I think they're going to change it up. I don't know. And
to what degree they're going to change it?
I don't know. I think, but we're still doing a catch-way release. So
of course.
So how is that benefiting? I mean, we're not having a weigh-in, so what's the point? I mean,
that's what I said last week, because I do feel like, and you and I can be very open with each other. We always are. That I think that what's lacking, because I don't hate the format at all, never have. Like every fish, 5,000 fish, 3 fish. I don't care. Like guys are still going. The good dudes are still going to catch them. I think it will change things if it goes to 5. I really do. For some folks maybe, but
you change outcome.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it'll change the outcome kind of thing.
Okay.
A little bit. I think it potentially could, but I think what the Bass Pro Tour is lacking more than anything else is that pop at the end of the day, right? And you and I have been in those winning moment type situations. So I don't know, even with going to 5 fish, yes, I think that you will get some of the naysayers that are just all about hating it to watch more, maybe, because they can relate to it, maybe. But then I think you're still, like you said, you're not going to have a weigh-in. They still got to figure out something in that regard, in my opinion, to step it up another notch. No hate involved in that. That's just my opinion. I think you got to have something to draw people to each event.
No hate involved, and respect the organization and everything. But again, what if I catch 15 3-pounders and then I catch a 3-1? And then my boat officials, now you got 15 pounds, 1 ounces, James. And then I catch another 3-pounder. James, you're still at 15 pounds, 1 ounce. I don't see what we're accomplishing if we don't have a weigh-in.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. And I said last week, I think it'd be really cool, like in the Texas Toyota Fest ways, if you want to do the catchway release, that's cool. That's fine. But bring one in. Yeah. Bring one in. That's maybe a mystery fish that on the broadcast you show everybody's best 4 and you don't know what everybody's got. It's like poker till the cards flip over, blackjack, whatever. You come in and you go, James, all right, you had 4 that weighed 13. Let's see the 5th one. And you got a 6-pounder and you damn wet. That's cool. Like that could be
That-
really cool. Boy Duckett, I swear to God, I'm looking at this camera. If you do that, and you don't say every time that Luke Duncan said that on Low Budget Live, I swear to God, Boyd, I swear to God, I will go to Gunnersville and I will break every Duckett rod over my knee on your dock, and it doesn't take much to do that. So anyway, shout
Lord.
out. If you're listening,
Now,
Jim Wilburn and Boyd
Dude.
Duckett, that is Luke Duncan's idea to save the Bass Pro Tour.
Yeah. Dude, I think
Boyd runs around with country music singers now. He don't give a shit. Okay.
that's I just don't know. I think anglers want it because that's their company.
Yeah, security
Yeah.
blanket. Security blanket.
And-
yeah.
But if we went to a 5 fish limit tomorrow, or the starting of the year, is Berkeley going to write a league a bigger check? Well,
Yeah.
you guys finally did what we wanted you to do.
Yeah.
I'd surely, if anglers think that they're going to immediately start making more money because they went to a 5 fish format, they truly only have to look at the fact of what they could possibly win.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's right.
because the sponsors aren't going to pay you more money. Oh man, you guys went to 5. The bass fishing world has corrected itself.
Yeah.
And everything's back on its axis and spinning properly because you went to a 5 fish format. Now, me, business wise, and stuff, I think one of the most terrible things that happened was the combining when we set up the Bass Pro Tour and the mass exodus happened.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to the Bass Pro Tour because the success on Major League Fishing shows and cups,
Yeah.
selects and cups. Nobody really knew the difference between selects and cups. It was just another TV show.
Yeah.
And if the league would have just left that alone and said the only people that fish Major League Fishing cups, Major League Fishing, all right, the only people that get to fish them is our Bass Pro Tour anglers. They're two different tours.
Mm-hmm.
And on this one, in order for you to be on this show, you have to fish the Bass Pro Tour. And those anglers get to wear these jerseys for this TV show. And in their circuit, the Bass Pro Tour that they fish, they wear their sponsored jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
That I think if they would have left that separate and less confusing, because it wasn't confusing when guys were fishing the Bass Elites and some of us fishing FLW, and then we'd get together and we'd make this TV show called Major League
And
Fishing.
everybody liked it.
And everybody liked it. It
Yep.
wasn't confusing. We do so much. We change and do so many different things. Best way I can put this, I tell agents this all the time. I tell people in marketing all the time. I know a lot about the radio business. You can't run a successful radio campaign for 1 week.
Yes.
You just can't do it. Nobody will remember you. If you're not willing to waste 6 months as a minimum on radio, don't buy an ad, because it's the repetitiveness of things that get you where you need to go. And we can't ever seem to have anything repetitive long enough for people to get accustomed to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, a lot of change. I agree with that. Yeah, the only thing that's constant is everything changes. I agree with that. And that's every league to a certain extent. I will say that. That's professional bass fishing kind of in a nutshell, whether you're looking at, Bass has changed the way they did Angler of the Year. They got the Toyota thing at the end of the year, then they don't, then they do this, and they did the Angler of the Year tournament. There's been different changes. Now it's like the open qualification changes. MPFL's done the same thing, right? Just in 2 years, we've changed the way we do things, whether it's how many days you're going to cover people live, or entry fee changes, or, hey, when the guys go up north, they can use a net, which I applauded, but I'm just saying, like, you do have changes, right? Like within that pro circuit, FLW Tour, you and I fished that. Same thing. It's like, okay, well, what's different next year? Oh, well, this is how we're going to do this. So that being said, that's no shade at just Bass Pro Tour, but it being a new entity, I do feel like it's had more change. Like coming out of the gate, it was, oh my God, everybody's going to ride to the boat ramp in a limousine. They're not going to pay entry fees. It's going to be great. Don't worry. You guys are going to make millions off of this kind of thing. Yep. Then the next year, oh, you're paying entry fees. And this is what we're doing. We're raising the minimums on the fish, right? Or red crest, right? You had it, then you didn't have it, then you had it, then you change it to the whatever time of year. I don't know. It's definitely a constant change. That's for sure.
It is. You know, things were said too. Like the Tackle Warehouse Tour. You know, Tackle Warehouse Tour is going away. It's going away.
Yep.
We have a business to run, and we have to relieve some burden off sponsors.
Mm-hmm.
That's what is said.
Right.
And then 2 seconds later, it's like, but don't worry, we got this new invitational.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right. Is Mercury Trailer not going to be at these invitationals? Oh, no, they'll be there. How are we relieving responsibility for sponsors?
It's the same deal.
All we did
was took away the championship.
Change the name of the circuit. You made it more like an 80-20 payback, and you made it 3 days instead of 4, and you took a championship away, and you brought the entry fee down to $5,000. Is that what we just did? Nope. It's not what we did.
It's very much what they did.
That's exactly what we did.
And here's the thing. The reason they can do the 3 days is because the Toyotas are successful. MPFL's been successful. The Bassmaster Opens are successful with weaker entry fees. And they're like, oh, you guys want to do that? Well, here you go. I mean, really. I mean, and they're like, these crack addicts, going back to the crack addict statement, they're willing to pay this to compete for this bigger money. Let's roll. And they'll be full next year. Period. End of story.
You want me to stir up some controversy right now among your listeners?
I mean,
I wish, because I'm here. This is selfish, but the high school and college fishing is doing just fine. Whether we did this or didn't do this, I wish the Bass Pro Tour would have remained a good old boys club, and our invitations were how you got in.
I don't disagree with that. Kind of like yeah.
And Lefty want to leave it exclusive, but they had debate the Tackle Warehouse guys the way we have to have a feeder system. We have to have a feeder system. We don't. Okay, fine. We don't need to have a feeder system because we own this entity and it's pretty exclusive. And to get in, we might ask the Angler of the Year of the Bass Elites to come over and fish with us. You know what? The All-American, we got a couple of qualifiers, All-American champion. You gets to fish with us. Chances are, does he want to risk $60,000, $80,000 a year to come fish and quit his job? Maybe not. Well, he had the invitation. He decided not to take it. He didn't lose an angler. That's the way I wish it would have kept going. And they're like, no, you have to have a feeder system. And I'm like, how many people did you turn away? I mean, they want to fill all their ranks coming up through the system so that now to the next step. They turned away so many people at the Tackle Warehouse Tour last year. We're giving up 10 slots on the Bass Pro Tour. That's more than 10% of our field on the chopping block, up for losing their jobs, losing their career.
Yeah, and going into purgatory, essentially.
Yes, and 10 people going away. Well, we have to have a feeder. We don't have to have a feeder system so big that we lose more than 10% of our field every year. Here's why I say this. Because you turned 70 people away from the tour below us that you couldn't even field.
Mm-hmm.
So the supply and demand for taking our slots, you could have given away 2 slots from the Bass Pro Tour to the Tackle Warehouse Tour. And guess what? They would have turned 70 people away from it.
Well, I think the reality of it too, James, and whether it's the Opens or the Pro Circuit, the TAC Warehouse, not everybody that fishes a Pro Circuit wants to be on the Bass Pro Tour. I don't think that's everybody's goal. There are a lot of guys, when you and I fish the FLW Tour, I'd say 75% of them, 80% of them, they had no higher ambition. At the time, that was as high as you could get within the FLW organization. They were there for the payouts, they were there for sponsor exposure, and they were there to fish big money tournaments, period, end of story. There's still a lot of them there that don't give two damns about the Bass Pro Tour. I'd say the Opens are very much that way too. You got guys that just want the higher level of competition that have zero desire to make the Elite Series. There are a lot of them. It's the same in the Toyotas. They don't want to fish the Pro Circuit. They want to fish the damn Toyotas.
That's right.
That's it.
Dude, bass fishing is such a needed product. You know, all these high school, college kids want to professionally fish. There's not enough slots.
I agree.
For all them guys that want to do this to do it. The MPFL is a prime example of supply and Brad put out a product that people wanted to pay for.
That's right.
It's being successful.
That's right.
There could stand up another circuit tomorrow. First place in this circuit is $25,000 per tournament. 80% payback. Your entry fees $2,500. There could be a circuit like that set up tomorrow, and there'd be 100 guys signed up for it.
Million percent.
We could set up a circuit that the entry fee is $10,000 per tournament, and set up a circuit, and we'd have 100 guys sign up for it in 2 months.
I feel like you're right on that. I really do.
Yeah. Now, and then name a circuit that is madly profitable as a business. No,
you can't.
No.
You can't. No. Yeah. I think that's the biggest misconception of these guys are just, like you may have that perception of Boyd when you see him on a private plane with the dude from Rascal Flats or whatever, but going to car auctions to buy car. He didn't make that through Major League Fishing.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't. He's a highly successful business guy. He's not getting extremely wealthy off the MLF, I don't think.
Well, I have schools here to do details work and stuff like that, and I'll pay teams to come by and make some money for their teams instead of handing it to them. I'll sit down and we'll talk, and I'll say, guys, this house that I live in, bass fishing didn't pay for it.
That's right. Yeah.
It did not do it. I said, you guys got to really hone in on what you're good at. And whether that's a landscaping or running a big truck or piece of equipment, or you want to, get in the books and you want to be a trial attorney, whatever it is. But bass fishing is a tough go, and there's a lot of old money still in this.
Yes.
Do you think Johnny Morse is going to give Kevin Van Dam a pay deduction anytime soon? No. All due respect, Kevin deserves the money he's making, but he can continue to make the money he's making until he can't cast it.
Yeah.
Right. And guess what that does? That ties that money up. And Dakota Eber, you don't get, but here you get a little bitty slice of it.
Great point.
That's a fact, and that's what you've got to deal with. I called upon a company. I've been lure free all year. Tackle HD let me go last year. I was a big ticket item on their budget, and they were tired of that. And, we parted in good ways. I didn't want to lose that paycheck, but they couldn't afford me anymore. It didn't work. They were overzealous. They overshot their budget, and I was glad to take it. I've contacted another company, big company inside this business, straight to the guy to talk to, and presented an opportunity to be pretty much all-inclusive, hard, soft, everything but rods and sunglasses, I think. And he said, James, I'll be honest with you, we love you to death, but to be honest with you, we're looking to cut our pro stuff, not expand it.
Yep.
And I'm like, I got 100,000+ followers on Facebook. I get 3 or 4 days of television time on various shows here and there. I think that I'm a little more marketable than a guy that's coming up through the ranks in the Toyota Series or the Opens. And I'm getting zero out of that company that, just basically said, love you, dude, but we're going to cut our pro staff. We're not going to add more people to it. If they're saying that to me, how do you think they're going to say that to an Open guy or a Toyota guy?
Yeah.
It's real easy to say it to them cats.
It's not. We are definitely not in the golden age of everybody making a lot of money in bass fishing. I think we saw that in the 90s and early 2000s more so than we're seeing now. I think you've got 10% of the guys doing it that are making a great living, and I think everybody else is just getting in where they fit in.
That's right. And to me, I can't live on $50,000 a year. I simply can't. I spend and pay too much in taxes, property tax, self-employment tax, all that. The $50,000 is not good for me. I don't see how people can live on it. I truly
it's
don't.
Tough, man.
You have to be
it's tough.
Disciplined individual to do that and to have kids and all
Very
that.
Hard.
I'm not trying to dash people's dreams, but my dream was just that. It was a dream. And when I was 38 years old and I had some money put away that I was willing to gamble and lose and not cry over or be homeless about, that's when I did it. 38. You got these kids coming in at 19 and 20 now.
Yep.
I was like, how are you doing this? How are you doing this?
That's wild.
It is. And some of them will be successful. And I don't hate on them for that.
No, I think you're spot on with it. I mean, it's not to just be negative Nellies, but I think there's just a lot of, for everybody that's like Bassmaster crushed my dreams or MLF crushed my dreams, man, they might have done you a, really, 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 really gigantic favor.
Dude, if I was at this level right now, tomorrow, and said, you know what, I still gonna fish. You know what I would do? I wouldn't buy a boat every year.
Heck no.
I wouldn't go seeking sponsors. I would go fish the Toyotas, have a good time with it, and it'd be on my dime. If somebody want to give me some fishing lures or whatever, and I was still marketable individual, great. But there's nothing wrong with being a Toyota level or a BFL.
Not at all.
I look at my good buddy Roger Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
Dennis Beerhorse. Some guy's been to the All-American, I don't know how many times. Marcus Sikora.
Yes.
Look at their tournament winnings throughout the years. I guarantee you they got as much in tournament winnings as I do, and they didn't spend a third of what I did.
That's right.
And guess what? Yeah, they'd like to go do, man, we'd like to do what you're doing worldwide. I said, well, quit your fucking job then.
And then go do it. Yeah, but
I'll do that. I said, well, you're smarter than I thought you were.
That's right.
I'm only here. I'm only where I'm at because I had the money to buy in. That's it.
Buy the chips.
That's it. But I'm telling you, that's all it takes.
Table.
That's right. Sit at the table. You can sit at the $5 table, you can sit at the $10 table, or you can sit at the $100 table. So, highlight of my year this year, I had a shitty year. Highlight of my year this year, Joe Thomas invited me to Ultimate Match Fishing. We got to go to Pickwick, and I had three good enough days on the water to that was the highlight of my year this year. And it bought me 3 days of television time that gets rerun 100 times. So
I was trying, if you watch the video of this, you'll see me digging through my phone. I was trying to find the video clip you sent me. That was an outtake because it would have been amazing to play right then and try to bleep out all the one with you and Elias when you lost the fish and then you caught a big smallmouth.
Yes.
He said, right when I was about to kill myself.
Yes. That ought to be, that should be one of your sound bites, right?
Listen, okay, so with this new, I got a new mixer this year, and I can put pre-saved sounds on here, and I've got several that I want, and that is one. That is one that I have said I'm going to make it an MP3 and have it on this board at some point.
That when it's after I lost that fish, it took a moment, and it was building up inside of me.
Oh, for sure.
It took a moment, and then I'm thinking, cameras right on me, cameras behind me, rolling. Oh, fuck it. They can edit this.
Yeah.
Oh, God, it's fun.
You let it go, buddy.
Dude, and poor Paul was so uncomfortable.
But he was laughing. He was snickering quietly in the mic. Like when you go quiet from your rant, you can just hear him going in the back just a little bit. It's one of my favorite things that ever happened in bass fishing. And the fact that I have the unedited version that you shared with me long ago before anybody could know anything. And you were like, check this crap out. I think you might have sent it to me in Fat Cat. I don't remember. But you were like, right when I was about to kill myself. Like you swung that big smallmouth in the boat. And it's so great, man.
I had that meltdown.
Because you lost two big ones back to back.
I lost one big one, and then I cussed, and then I kicked the boat out, and I made a cast, and I caught that 585.
Yeah, Smalley.
I was like, oh. So,
it's beautiful, James Watson. I love it.
One comment on, I don't know if it was Ultimate Matches page or whatever, and one comment of a no picture person, profile picture, and he's like, Paul Weiss is a legend in this sport. How disrespectful for you to have a meltdown like you did with the engine in the back of the boat. And I'm not going to let my kids watch this. I was like, it's all beeped out. No disrespect to Paul, but, mad disrespect to that bass that refused to come in the boat.
Yeah, that spit my chatterbait out, bastard.
Yeah. Yeah, he's had it swallowed, too, so I know he liked it.
Yeah. Oh, my God. It's so great, man. But that's reality. For anybody, it's like, oh, man, you said ugly language. Whatever, dude. Get out of here. Get out of here.
I cuss a lot.
Same.
Yeah.
The fact that I make it through an hour show every week without just completely losing everybody in life that sponsors me is miraculous for anybody that knows me off the microphone because I have a horrible mouth. Not proud of it necessarily. I've had it since I was a child, 12, 13. The first time I learned to drop an F-bomb, I was like, hell yeah, boy, let's go. I mean, whatever. It just happens.
Dude, I remember the first time I ever cussed in front of my dad, and it was, I can almost, as a crow flies, it's right over the hill here, almost see the spot. Well, we're jerk baiting one April down by the dam here at Table Rock, and my dad heaves back, and his rogue goes through my hat. All three treble hooks through my hat and into my skull.
Oh, no.
And I was like, ah! And he goes, let me see it. He goes back there and he's behind me and he pulls the back of my hat up and he goes, yeah. Well, that one, he took one out, and took one hook. He wasn't in there very good. He goes, hang on. He's peeled my hat up and he's got my hat in his hand. He said, yeah. He said, I'm going to have to get these out of here. And he just yanked my hat off.
Oh, my God.
With scalp inside my hat and everything. And I was like, son of a bitch! What the fuck just happened? That was the day. That was the day that I feel like I'm cussing from my dad. I was like, give me a cigarette.
Yeah, where them Bud Lights at, dog? Let's go.
Yeah. I mean,
you needed one that day, too.
Oh, God, that's funny. I just, little things. Where were you on 9/11? What age?
Yeah. Where were you when Elvis died?
Yeah. When did you smoke in front of your parents and cuss?
That's right. I stuck a jigging spoon in my thumb. I caught a white bass this week over on Gunnersville with my boys in the boat, and I stuck it. I mean, good, right? It didn't get to the bone, but it went in, and I'm on the front deck. The wind's ripping. I got a white bass connected to me. I get it off, and I know it's bad. And Hudson, my 15-year-old, hip to hip with me, and he goes, Dad, And I said, yeah, that's bad. And he goes, what are you going to do? And I grabbed the pliers and ripped it out because we were catching them every cast.
Yeah.
And I did. It was past the bar. It's the first time in a long time I've gotten one that bad. But look, we're in the middle of the lake. Like, there's nothing they can do. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, well, you know, we're going to do the line trick. Hey, let me teach you boys how to do this crap. Take those side. So, and it wasn't just so far, but it hurt. And I cussed, and both of them were just giggling. And I'm like, don't mention this to your mother or your stepmother, please. But you never forget those moments, though. I think the first time you hear your dad cuss, too, like a legendary rant is always a good one in life, too. Like, I think the first time you ever just hear him just really lay into one or lay into somebody, right? Like the first time that's not you, you're like, whoa, that's a badass.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll never forget.
Yeah, and you're like trying to warn that person.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
I'll never forget. I was 13 years old. My dad and I fishing a club tournament on Wilson Lake, and we get in the back of this cut, and it was in March, and we used to always catch them back there on a rattle trap and spinnerbait and stuff, back when fish bit, stuff like that. And and we're in the ass end of this pocket, and there's one dock back there. My dad always liked it. There's one isolated dock, and he'd go skip a jig under it. And we had fished this flat. We had our limit. Well, this old boy comes running in, and dude, this is skinny water. It's like 2 feet or less, whatever. This old boy comes running in, and he goes past us on the flat. Almost runs aground, drops his trolling motor, and this was not a guy in our local club tournament we were fishing, puts the trolling motor high and beats us to this dock by like 25 yards. And when I tell you, Marty Duncan, oh my God, what he said to this man, I'll never forget. And then the guy was like, oh yeah, well, you want to go about it? And Dad's like, you may get in this boat, but they gonna need to bring the damn coroner to get you out of it. And I was like, yeah, inject that into my veins, son. I was like 13, and I didn't say a damn word for like 2 hours.
Yeah. Let that cool off.
Let him cool off a little bit before I knock one off with the net. I was scared to move. It's like, just throw my rattle trap. Don't make eye contact. Oh, my God. Amazing. James Worldwide Watson, I appreciate you, buddy. Very much. Thanks for sharing your time with us this morning, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, buddy. JMFW right there. Hope y'all enjoyed that. We get silly. We have a big time, though, and he's one of the best people in this industry. Man, it's just honest, brutal honesty. And I think that you can learn a lot from what he's telling you there. I don't think you should be discouraged from the negativity necessarily, but you need to know if you're a young guy, if you're an old guy, whatever the realities in this sport are just that. And it's not easy. And if you're not cut out for the sacrifice, if you're not cut out financially, if you don't have the sponsor back up, you can lose it all very, very quick. And I just want to thank him for coming on. Presented to you by the W Sauce. The sauce, the juice right there with James Worldwide Watson. Get you some of this. I used this on steak and eggs. If you saw my little Instagram reel this weekend, we had brunch for the Tennessee game and some screwdrivers, had a little Tito's, and then, doctored up some steaks with this, some sirloins. It's really, really good. Even cooked my eggs in the residue on the Blackstone. But get you the W Sauce, got the Fireshire and the original W Sauce. This is spicy. Trust me. That's going to light you up just a little bit right there. All right. Thanks to each and every one of you for tuning in. We'll see y'all next week. Take you out with some Biloxi Blues. Be sure to hug your mama. Happy birthday, Hudson D. I'll see y'all next week.
From Jacksontown to Tupelo, I never could make it last. Spanish moss and Civil War ghosts, well, I'm gonna leave them in the past. Any direction, Lord, I'll be fine. It don't matter east or west. North, south, wherever the wind blows, I'm leaving those burdens at rest. This highway, it does not know my name, and I don't care, no, I don't care. Heading my way for another Listen, I got 3 good tires and a spare. Just a white line gypsy getting out of Mississippi with just enough gas.